How's everybody doing? We're on Survivor Australia, Season 9, Episode 19. Right? If you remember last time, we had the competition between the people that have been sent to purgatory, which was Jordy, Shay, KJ, and Melissa, I believe, or is it Michelle? Sorry. So those four had to compete in the competition to get back in the game, and 3 out of the 4 get a chance to get back in the game. In the end, Michelle was the one eliminated, which means the jury is now made of the twins, Michelle, Melissa, Jesse, and Khan. All right. So that's 2 people on the jury that had idols that they didn't use. In Jesse's case, he gave it away. And other 2 are twins. All right, so we got 3 people coming back in the game. We got Jordy, KJ, and Shay coming back in the game to compete with a 6-person alliance that have been kind of voting together for a long time in the game. I don't think they really turned against each other that much. I think there were moments where they kind of split votes between each other, but I think was it Dave voted for Sam at one point? A bunch of stuff happened. But now that those 3 are back in the game, it's just like who's going to join the 3 if the 3 sticks together, or if Jordy wins immunity, which is their main target. If he wins immunity, the other 2 should be safe enough that other people outside of that main 4 of Jordan, Josh, Mark, and Sam can decide to grab the 3 floaters for a bit and make a change. All right, so get to this episode, and I think Sam is very nervous, as she always is, and Jordy's sort of spreading chaos to kind of make her freak out a little bit, because she's still hiding the fact that they have both Mark and Sam have idols, and they try to make Jordy out as a liar. And most of the people on their tribe don't believe Jordy. I believe the 3 that got voted out actually do. The 2 besides him that were in purgatory actually believe him. And yeah, but no one else seemed to believe him that she has an idol and Mark has an idol, because if they did, they would probably make a move to flush out those idols. All right. So we get to this, and I believe the first thing was a survivor auction. And if you've ever seen a survivor auction, there's always an advantage that someone can win, either an advantage in the game or an advantage in the next immunity competition. All right. So they get to the auction, and Jordy's trying to save his money to get that advantage. All right. So they're going through. Some people are spending money on food. I believe it was the ones that feel safe. Chrissy was the first one to buy food. Then I believe who bought food? It was Chrissy. Then no, not Shay. Chrissy. Hold on. Let's see. All right, so Chrissy bought food, and I believe Jordan bought food, and then Josh, David and Josh both try to buy food. They both bet $500, so which means they would go to rocks, and the person that wins rocks, I believe it's like you have to randomly choose a rock, and the person with the white rock loses, the one with the purple rock wins. But both of them end up spending their $500, and only the person that wins actually get the prize. So it's very risky. So when both of them bet their 500 on the item, I believe it was covered. They didn't know what it was. No, it wasn't covered. It was actually like a burger and fries and stuff like that. So Josh immediately just rescinded his bet because he didn't want to take the chance of going to rocks, and Dave ended up winning that food. All right, so the only ones that have money are Mark, Sam, Josh, and I believe KJ and Shay both spend their money. So it was just those three, just Jordy saving up to get the advantage. Josh, Sam, and Mark both saving up so they can outbid Jordy. The next thing I believe was the first item that was actually covered, and immediately Jordy bet his 500 on it because he was hoping that it was an advantage. If you've ever seen a Survivor auction, the first thing that's covered is never the advantage. Like, that's a very risky move. It's like usually second to last. So it's a very risky move. So he bet that 500, and then Mark also bet 500, and they ended up going to rocks for it. And Jordy ended up winning himself a rock while Mark won some food. I can't remember what it was. The next item was also covered, and Sam went 500 for it, and she got toast, I believe. And then the next item was covered, and KJ bet on it, and she bet, I think she bet like 300. She won it, and it was a tea set with an advantage tucked behind it. She quickly grabbed the advantage, tuck it in her pants before turning around with the tea set and going back. So everyone just thought she won some tea, but she actually won an advantage. And I believe the rest, Shay bet on the next, no, it wasn't covered. The last thing wasn't covered. It was letters from home. She bet on it. She won it for like $200 or something like that. And when she got her letter, everyone's letter was also in the pot, and she had a dilemma: either keep her letter or reject her letter and give everyone else their letter. And she chose to give everyone else their letter. I don't know why she would do that. Doesn't really make any sense. Most of the people voted her out, but that's what she chose to do. All right, so that was the end of the auction. Let me stop sharing that. All right, and after the auction ended, they went back and everyone's reading their letter, but KJ went to go see what her advantage was. It said her advantage is going to be close to the well. She got back to camp, goes to get her advantage, and it gave her the power to send 3 people home from tribal. Those 3 people don't get to vote, but they also can't get voted out, which is something I've seen in Survivor before. I can't remember, was it originally used in the original Survivor, or I think it was originally used in the original Survivor, but but that technically can save her alliance of the people that went to purgatory. She can just send all 3 of them home, and the rest of the 6-person alliance now have to kind of consume each other. All right. All right, so I'm already excited because of that, because that gives them an insurance policy in case, you know, something happened. So I'm like, so now I'm thinking, I'm hoping if Jordy wins immunity, right, she can take home herself, Shay, and someone else from the other alliance that they were most likely voted out. They most likely get voted out, like David, and which leaves Chrissy, Josh, Jordan, Mark, and Sam, which most likely means either Chrissy aligns with one of the couples and they vote against the other one, or they all decide to just get rid of Chrissy, which would just even up the alliances if Dave chooses to work with them, with them. All right. So that's what I'm thinking as the best case. All right. So let's skip a lot of the talking and strategizing, because it was mostly just mostly everyone just agreeing they have to get rid of Jordy, except for the alliance of the purgatory, the people from purgatory. Right. Right. So here is the immunity challenge. As you see right here, they're going to start over there. You have to swim through the water, crawl below the net, then jump this post below the net once again. All right. So this. Oops. All right, there we go. All right, after crawling through the last net, they come up here to the station and they have to toss a hook on a rope to grab the bag of puzzle pieces. Pull the bag. After they get their bag, then they can go and try to assemble the puzzle on the stations back here. All right. All right. All right, so the puzzle looks like this. Basically, they have to stack these blocks up until they're all at the same height, and then put that ring in the bottom there. They have to put another one on top of it, and they have to make 3 stacks, I believe. All right. In this competition, Jordy didn't have it. He got there pretty early on. The first one to make it to the end, I believe, was David. He was the first. He wasn't the first one to get to that station, but he was the first one to hook his puzzle pieces. So he was the first one to get to the puzzle. And after that, it was Mark, and then Jordy and the rest. All right. So right out the gate, the first one to complete their first tier of their stack was David. He was doing very good in this competition. Before anyone even finished their first tier, he was already working on his second. And then, as you can see right here, the second person to finish their first stack was Josh, right there. He just finished his first stack, and he caught up because, and you can see Jordy, see him looking around trying to cheat off of Dave's. He didn't get past this first tier. Like he was not doing very well in this competition. All right, and Dave got stuck on the second tier. Some other people made it to the second, but before anybody else made it to I mean, a couple of other people made it to the first tier, but before anyone else does, Josh was able to do the second tier and moving on to his third and final tier. All right. And Dave was still stuck in the second, but before anything else can happen, Josh was able to finish it off and win. Show you right there. As you can see, right next to him, people are working on their second tier, and he's working on his third, and he's just about to win this competition, which means in the end, Josh won individual immunity. All right, which is bad news for Jordy, but he's still trying to work the numbers and trying to get people to turn against the couple of Mark and Sam. All right, so he's banking on that. And this whole time, KJ hasn't told anyone about her advantage. Right? So they all just sort of trying to work the numbers, because her advantage gives her the ability to do that for this tribal and the next tribal. So she has 2 chances. So if they can work the numbers and get people on their side to vote their way, and she doesn't have to use it immediately, then she can save it until the next vote, which is probably smart while she kept it secret. But if I was her, I would have told people. I would have told people and use it. No, but then she had to use the power right away before they even vote. So it wouldn't have worked. All right, fine. I concede. It was good for her not to tell anyone. Right. So they're kind of shopping around. Sam is adamant about getting rid of Jordy, and she's talking to everyone, and it's looking like that. And then KJ goes around, so she's trying to see who she can ally with, who to get some numbers on their side going forward, so that she can at least save her power for later. But as she starts talking to people, they're telling her that Jordy's probably going to go. The majority is going to be on Jordy, so she should probably vote for Jordy. All right. And then Sam and Mark were also kind of getting nervous, wondering, well, Sam mostly wondering what would happen, what if people actually start to believe Jordy and they throw some votes their way. So she's getting nervous. She started talking to Mark. she's trying to convince him that they should take the secret, damn it, the hidden immunity idols to tribal just in case. But he's saying no, they should leave it behind so that they don't get nervous and start play it, too early. So they decide to leave it behind. They get to tribal. They're talking, and Jordy is pointing out, is still sticking to a story that they're lying and they both have idols. And Sam and Mark are still sort of pretending like he's lying, and they're kind of back and forth for a while. And before they get to Josh has the individual immunity, so he's safe. He's not really worried about anything. I believe he also, when he received his letter, he also found out his fiance was pregnant. So, I mean, good days all around for him, I guess. But before they got to vote, KJ, you can see, show you a little image of it right there. KJ pulled out her advantage, showed it to Jonathan, and he read it out, and everyone now knows what her power is. And she goes to sending people back, and she did something that I didn't even think about. She decided to send home Chrissy first, and I was like, oh, why Chrissy? Then she decided to send home Mark, and then she decided to send home Josh. And then it just freaking blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, if she sends home all those people, now their alliance are kind of part of the majority, or at least they equal it out. I didn't even think about that angle. They get to choose who goes home rather than the other people choosing who go home after they save themselves. And she says the reason she decided to do that is because if she sent home her 3 alliance members, Dave would be the one going home, which probably Dave would be going home. As soon as she says that, I'm like, now they have Dave on side. Now they can do a 4 against the other 2, and the other 2 being Sam and Jordan. Freaking amazing play that I didn't even consider. I was just thinking of just saving themselves rather than going on the attack. Brilliant move. Love it. She's starting to stack up some points right now just from that move alone. She's really in the game. All right. So before he left, Mark made it look like he was giving Sam an idol out of his bag. But actually he didn't give her anything because they left the idols back at camp. So Sam is now using that to make it seem like she has the idol and she's safe. And and Jordan is like, I'm going to stick to my vote, which is stupid, which probably means he's going to stick to trying to vote out Jordy, and the other 3 are not going to do that. So whatever. So that's what he decided to do. Dave didn't say anything. And Sam starts going around to people. She goes around to, first she talks to KJ and she says, I have Mark's idol. I'm going to use it. So what do you want to do? She's trying to make a deal with them. KJ is like, I'm going to stick to my alliance. She goes to Jordy. She says, I have the idol. I'm going to use it. What are you going to do? He says, do what you got to do. Then before she can get to Shay, Jordy exposed, and he says, she just said, I have the idol. And she's like, no, I said I have Mark's idol. He's like, no, you definitely just revealed yourself. You said you have the idol. And it was just like a whole back and forth. But it's still like a he said, she said sort of thing. If I was Jordy, what I would have done is say, if you believe we're both lying, I will promise that if it turns out that I'm lying and I get to the end, none of you should vote for me. And I'll stick to that word. I'll promise right now. If I get to the end and I'm lying, you don't vote for me. I don't win the game. And just say it like that and say, I'm guaranteeing you, and she can't do the same thing. If she's telling the truth, she has nothing to lose from doing that. And she's definitely not going to do it. because she would be lying. All right. So, I mean, that's how I would have played it. All right. They get to the vote. And of course, Sam doesn't play an idol. And Jordan votes for Jordy. Sam votes for Jordy. But the other four all voted for Jordan, sending Jordan home. After his cousin just won safety, they were able to send Jordan home. And now Dave just voted with them, which hopefully he's going to keep doing that going forward. And now they already took the first shots and they send one of the couples home, which means Josh is pretty much on his own. So he's more willing to make a move now because he no longer has to protect his cousin, and he no longer has the safety of his cousin to kind of keep them safe and keep them working with Mark and Sam. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm hoping especially if Jordy wins the next individual immunity, then they 100% are going to take a shot at the couple. It's like there's no other way. I mean, what else are they going to do? The next biggest threat besides him is Josh. And then well, it's mostly Mark and Sam, but if they working against them, the next biggest threat is going to be Josh. So Josh has to work with other people to protect himself. All right, so I'm looking forward to it. Till next time.